Prince Grayson watched as Princess Ebony didn't notice Prince Kern and walked right past him. It was clear that she had her full attention directed towards him. He knew she was headed his way. Lucky fellow, he said himself. At least one of the royal princes is escaping Princess Ebony's verbal onslaught tonight. Princess Ebony was stomping her feet in anger as she walked his way. As she got closer, he could see flames radiating from her body. The flames danced boldly on her skin and gently through her gown. The flames were a soft red and orange color. She glowed. A beautiful aura encompassed her. Prince Grayson had almost laughed out loud when he saw her stomping towards him, but couldn't. He was not prepared for the sight he was seeing. He didn't realize that it was an image that only he could see. Radian chuckled at Prince Grayson's reaction upon seeing the flames that gently danced on Princess Ebony's skin. "Can everyone see that?" Prince Grayson asked. "How is she doing that?" Radian knew that they alone could see the flames. It was Nova revealing herself to him openly. "It is Nova doing that," replied Radian. "Only she can do that and only we can see it." Radian couldn't help himself as he sarcastically said, "I told you that Nova was an ancient dragon, and has powers like no other dragon." "What kind of dragon is there that can do this?" Prince Grayson asked. He couldn't tear his eyes away from her, even as he wondered what she was going to do next. "Our mate is a stone dragon," Radian proudly announced. "A stone dragon?" Prince Grayson searched his brain as he tried to remember his school lessons about ancient dragons. Radian scoffed. "You should have paid more attention to those classes about ancient dragons," he said. "Nova was the first of her kind, and is the most powerful stone dragon that ever was. She is the highest being in the hierarchy of the fire dragons. She breathes fire so hot she can melt sand into glass and dirt into stone. Why are there no longer any more stone dragons? Why do we just have fire dragons?" Prince Grayson asked. "Finally, intelligent questions that are not answered in the ancient scrolls that you currently have. This knowledge has been hidden." Radian paused, trying to figure a way to show what he wanted to convey to Prince Grayson. The dragon gods discontinued the direct line of stone dragons because of the horrible destruction they could wreak upon the earth in battle. Remember the Blackton Mountains in Peroria? The Blackton Mountains were tall, jagged rock made of obsidian that stretched for miles. It had glistened from the sunlight as they flew over. There was not a single blade of grass or a tree anywhere in those mountains. Prince Grayson remembered how Radian had insisted they fly over the whole region. The stone was breathtaking in its beauty. There was not a crack to be found in the solid silvery obsidian material that formed the Blackton Mountains. "What about the Blackton Mountains?" Prince Grayson asked, right before he realized they had been created by a stone dragon. "Not just any stone dragon," Radian said proudly. "It was Nova." "Can you reveal yourself like that to Nova?" asked Prince Grayson, his eyes drawn to the dancing flames on Princess Ebony like a moth to a candle flame. "What do you think?" piped Radian excitedly. "Yes, I can in my own way, only for my mate to see. Some mate Nova's turned out to be. She may be able to control fire on the outside, but she can't seem to control all that fire burning inside Princess Ebony." Prince Grayson paused as he admired the flames dancing on Princess Ebony. She was nearly in front of him. "She sure is beautiful, even when she is furious." He laughed. Radian chuckled. "That's the mate bond talking," he said. "I don't think anyone else here is finding her breathtaking." "They better not," Prince Grayson said. He could hear Radian laughing in the background. Prince Grayson readied himself for the confrontation he knew was coming. He stood stiffly, letting the power and authority of his own dragon seep into his body. He boldly admired his mate. A huge smile was on his face as she stood in front of him. Princess Ebony stared in shock. Prince Grayson was smiling. Why was there a smile on his face? She thought. It only added fuel to the rage she felt. Suddenly a blue aura shone from around Prince Grayson. Small ice crystals formed on his skin, sparkling like diamonds. She watched in shock as his black suit began to sparkle also. If a dragon could dance a jig, Nova would have been dancing like crazy. "That's Radian," she exclaimed. "What? Who?" Ebony asked Nova. "Radian was my mate. I was worried that the dragon gods had sent someone else, but I should have known better. He is revealing himself to me. He is an ancient dragon too, like me. That is his aura alone. Nova couldn't contain her joy, discovering that it had been Radion she had sensed. Princess Ebony snapped at Nova. If he is actually our mate, why has he been avoiding me ever since we danced? She suddenly realized what she had said. I don't need a mate, she screamed at Nova. I don't want a mate. Don't forget about all the plans we have made, Nova. I will never take a mate. Nova's quietly responded. Those are your plans. Whether or not you like it, we have a true mate. Nova withdrew from Princess Ebony, placing a shield about herself, hiding once again. She roared to herself in frustration before collapsing within the barrier she had created to hide herself from Princess Ebony. She knew she needed to keep an eye on the princess, but she had to remember how to shield the conversation she needed to have with Radiant from her. Nova had spent so much time shielding herself from the dragons close to her, she had lost the art of some of the lesser uses of her magic. She had to remember how she had shielded conversations with Radion from her former Hosentoe. Concentrate, she scolded herself. You can figure this out. Princess Ebony had never felt Nova withdraw from her like that so completely. Traitor, she snarled at Nova, even though she could tell Nova was no longer paying her any attention. Good, she thought. Now I have complete control. Prince Grayson stood there watching, as different expressions would cross Princess Ebony's face. His smile got bigger as he recognized that she was battling with her dragon, the same way he and Radion had done many times. His smile royally ticked off the princess. She raised her hand to wipe that smile off of his face, but Prince Grayson instinctively caught her wrist in his hand before she could strike him. He held on tightly for a few moments, displaying his strength and power. The ice crystals on his skin began to dance ever so slightly. As suddenly as he had caught her wrist, he let it go. How dare you touch me? She yelled in anger. Prince Grayson stood mutely before her. He wanted to state the obvious, that she had attempted to hit him before he had grabbed her, but he saw no reason to argue with her. His silence enraged her more, if that was possible. I don't understand why my father would think it appropriate to invite a savage from Peoria to my ball, she screamed. Princess Ebony jerked her eyes away from his. They seemed to be drawing her in, and overpowering her, trying to take her control of the situation away from her. She stared at him, avoiding his eyes. He really is good-looking. For a second she found herself admiring Prince Grayson. Ugh, she yelled at herself. She didn't need him. She didn't want him. Everyone knows the men of Peoria are mindless brutes that go around killing and destroying everything around them, whenever and wherever they can. She yelled. They are warmongers, stealing from their neighboring countries. They take anything they can get their hands on. They even steal Alarian women, because the women of Peoria are so ugly, even their own mothers don't want them. Stop right there, Prince Grayson coldly warned. Direct your insults to me like you did the other princes. My people have no part in this tirade of yours. Unexpectedly, he heard the female voice of another dragon speaking to Radion. It was an ancient dialect that he could not understand. He was so surprised that he had stopped speaking. Radion snapped at him, momentarily silencing Nova. Keep your focus on the princess. More gently, he added. Sorry I distracted you. Nova has just figured out how to speak to me without Ebony being aware of it. Radion put up a mental block, shutting Grayson out. He looked at Princess Ebony as she was screaming. I will insult anyone I want to. But you won't insult your mate, is that it? Prince Grayson asked. Princess Ebony's eyes widened in shock, stunned by his words. Or, he continued, is it that you can't insult your mate? Mate? Ebony whispered. She began to laugh manically again. You think you're my mate? She yelled at him. You think I would accept any man from Peoria as my mate? The denial of her mate sent a knee-jerk reaction deep within her. She tried to speak the words, I will not have you, the way she had told the rest of the princes, but the proclamation got caught in her throat. The two of them stared at each other, struggling in a battle of dominance that could not be won. Both of them were too strong and too willful to give in. Their dragons were equals. Feeling like she might lose this battle, Princess Ebony turned to her father, suddenly aware of the audience that had witnessed her screaming rampage. King Liam stood in front of his throne. He was clearly livid over her behavior. Prince Edwin had obviously been enjoying the show, while Queen Briette sat on her throne, sobbing into her hands, no longer wanting to watch her daughter, and the path of destruction she was on. Even though Princess Ebony didn't really care at that moment what the people thought, she knew she had crossed a line with King Liam. When she turned back to her mate's smirking face, she missed the murderous gleam in her father's eyes as he bellowed, "You will pick a mate from the royals I have invited here tonight, or else you shall be banished from this palace." Princess Ebony's eyes widened in surprise at Prince Grayson once again, as he gazed deeply into her eyes and whispered, "Pick me." His aura was shining even brighter. "Nova!" she yelled in panic. There was no response. Ebony could not sense her dragon's presence. She could not see Nova anywhere in her mind. Panic gripped her. She needed Nova now. Princess Ebony turned away from the alluring power of Prince Grayson's eyes only to see King Liam making his way through the crowd to where she stood in the far corner of the ballroom with Prince Grayson. The crowd silently parted to let the king pass. Behind the king, Queen Breet sat still on her throne, watching hopefully that her daughter would not upset the king further and make matters worse. Prince Edwin looked gleefully at her. He automatically confirmed to Princess Ebony that she was in deep poop and it stunk badly. Princess Ebony grabbed her skirt and lifted the hem of her gown off the floor as she prepared to flee the ballroom in her own cowardice. With one last act of bravado, she screamed at the king who was headed her way, "I will pick no man in this room. I will never leave Valerian, and I will never marry." Princess Ebony turned and fled to her room. Even though some men in the crowd thought about stopping her, they would not lay a hand on the princess unless the king directly ordered it. Princess Ebony could hear the king bellowing at her in his booming voice to come back, but she ignored him. Reaching her room, she quickly slammed the door and bolted the lock. She threw herself on the bed, sobbing. Nova dropped her barrier and watched her. She had nothing to say to Princess Ebony.